Good morning. Welcome to tropical storm weather. Monday, August 24th, 2020, and the storms are hitting everybody, especially south of us. So be in prayer for those who are in the direct path of the storm. We will be looking at the 17th chapter of John today, and this is Jesus continues the teaching. So there's no action, there's no change in the location of whatever's going on in the story. And John seems to have this inside look into these very intimate conversations. So Jesus switches at this point when we go to chapter 16 from talking to his disciples to talking to God. And so chapter 17 reads like an overheard prayer. Jesus is praying to God, and we are overhearing his prayer. And it's a whole chapter of the prayer. So if you look at it this way, the Garden of Gethsemane was like a couple lines in the Synoptic Gospels. And here in John, we have a whole chapter of God advocating for them. On behalf of these people, Lord, I need you to be with them, protect them. But moreover, he says, make them one. Unity. Unity is his ask in this prayer to God through the whole entire chapter 17. He switches from talking to his disciples to talking to God, and it's as if John can overhear Jesus' prayer and writes that down. And that's what it looks like. So he advocates on behalf of mainly the disciples, we think, because he was just talking to them, and now he's maybe talking in front of them. I wasn't there, so I don't know. And then it says, not only these, but also those who will believe because of their efforts, which means us, those who are to come later on. And what he asks is that we would be one as he is one with God the Father. It's asked in several different ways. Like John has that pattern of saying the same thing in several different ways, really the same message. He asks for unity for the believers now and the believers in the future, the ones that are to come. And the significance of this chapter is that when you read it, you get a sense that it's one of those moments where maybe you have been looking up at the stars and realizing that the universe is huge and ever expanding, and you feel very small, but at the same time very interconnected. It's that sense of awe. And this chapter has that same sense. Maybe you've been in the Grand Canyon or another mountainous canyon, beautiful, huge, enormous, looking out at the ocean, a situation where you just felt like the power and awesomeness of God who created all of this, and then you just feel like a very small person. However, you don't feel insignificant, you feel connected to all of it. And chapter 17 of John is that chapter where Jesus is advocating for little old you and me, right? He's saying, like, I pray on behalf of them. And he's thinking about his disciples, but he's saying, and those who will believe because of their efforts. And maybe that's John, a little editorial, the writer of the gospel, saying, these people that are going to read what I'm writing right now, that's them too. And of course, that's inspiration. We believe that scripture is inspired that way. So there's the significance. Chapter 17, and it is written in there because he knows that his hour is upon him, but his hour has been upon him for a couple of chapters now. But we know this is coming, and it's been foretold since basically, we had it in chapter 3 that Jesus was going to be in Jerusalem, be convicted, it goes way back to the beginning of John's gospel. It's not as chronological as other gospels. And so we have in here this overheard prayer, just the way that I would describe it. And as you read it today, I hope you, if you had read it, I hope you will maybe see that the same way, is that it's like an overheard prayer between Jesus and God, a conversation. And that's essentially what prayer is. It's the building up of a relationship. The more conversations you have, the better relationship is. What you put in is what you get out. And what you get out is what you put in. And so you're not going to see things that God's doing for you unless you have a relationship with God. Doesn't mean that God's not doing those things for you. It just means that you might not be able to see it. So it's what you put in is what you get out. And Jesus is intentionally modeling that for us in chapter 17 of John's Gospel with this long, chapter-long prayer, as opposed to in the earlier synoptics where the prayer is pretty brief, which it can be brief too. However, I love this expansion of what I imagine to be the prayer at the near the Passion of Jesus. So enjoy the chapter 17 and stay inside because it's nasty out there. Be blessed.